What if I told you that most of your daily decisions are not actually yours, but controlled by a tiny chemical in your brain? And what if that same chemical is quietly shaping your habits, your motivation, and even your happiness without you realizing it? Right now, as you're watching this, your brain is chasing something, and that something is called dopamine. It's not just a feel-good chemical like people say. It's more like a control system that decides what you want, what you repeat, and what you become. Before we go deeper, make sure to like this video and subscribe to BrainDecoded, because understanding your brain might be the most powerful skill you ever learn. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll start noticing things about yourself that you've never noticed before. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter, which simply means it's a chemical messenger in your brain. It travels between neurons and tells your brain what is important and what should be repeated again and again. But here's the twist. Dopamine is not about pleasure itself. It's about anticipation of pleasure. Your brain releases dopamine not when you get the reward, but when it expects the reward. That means the excitement you feel before opening a message, before eating your favorite food, or before checking your phone is dopamine at work. Your brain is saying, "This might be good. Do it again." Think about social media for a second. Every time you refresh your feed, your brain is gambling, not with money, but with attention. Sometimes you see something exciting, sometimes you don't, and that unpredictability is exactly what makes it addictive. This is called the variable reward system, and it's one of the strongest ways to trigger dopamine. Your brain starts to crave the possibility of reward, not the reward itself. That's why you keep scrolling, even when you're not enjoying it anymore. Now let's simplify the science even more. Imagine your brain has a reward pathway, like a highway. When you do something that feels important for survival or success, dopamine flows through this pathway and strengthens that behavior. The stronger the dopamine signal, the more your brain says, "Do this again." This is how habits are formed, not through logic, not through discipline, but through repetition guided by dopamine. This is also why bad habits are so hard to break, because your brain doesn't judge what's good or bad. It only remembers what gave a dopamine spike. If something gives quick and easy dopamine, your brain will choose it over something that gives slow and delayed rewards. That's why watching short videos feels easier than studying, and junk food feels more tempting than healthy food. Your brain is always trying to save energy. It prefers fast rewards over long-term benefits, even if those long-term benefits are better for you. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. The more you expose yourself to high dopamine activities, like constant scrolling, gaming, or binge-watching, the more your brain adapts. It reduces your sensitivity to dopamine. This means normal activities start to feel boring. Things like studying, working, or even having real conversations don't feel as exciting anymore. Not because they are boring, but because your brain has been overstimulated. This is called dopamine desensitization. Your brain needs more stimulation just to feel normal. And this is where people start saying, "I have no motivation." But the truth is, it's not that motivation is gone. It's that dopamine balance is broken. Your brain is stuck in a loop of chasing easy rewards and avoiding effort. And over time, this loop starts controlling your life. You delay important tasks. You lose focus quickly. You feel restless without your phone. And even when you want to improve, you feel stuck. But here's the good news. If dopamine can shape your habits, you can also reshape your dopamine. You don't need extreme discipline or complicated systems. You just need to understand how your brain works and start making small changes. For example, when you delay a reward, your brain actually releases more dopamine over time. This is why working toward a goal can feel more satisfying than instant gratification. When you remove constant stimulation, like reducing screen time, your brain slowly resets its sensitivity. Simple things start to feel enjoyable again. Even something like exercise increases dopamine in a healthy way. It doesn't spike it instantly, but it builds it gradually, which is much better for long-term motivation. And here's something most people don't realize. Dopamine is also connected to meaning. When you do something that aligns with your goals, your brain releases dopamine in a more stable and lasting way. This creates real motivation, not just temporary excitement. So the goal is not to remove dopamine. That's impossible. The goal is to control where it comes from. If your dopamine mostly comes from distractions, your life will move in that direction. If it comes from growth, learning, and progress, your life will follow that path instead. Right now, take a moment and think. What are the top 3 things that give you the most dopamine in your day? Are they helping you grow? Or are they just keeping you busy? Because whatever they are shaping your future. And this is the part most people ignore. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your dopamine systems. If your environment is full of easy rewards, your brain will keep choosing them. But if you design your environment smartly, you can guide your brain toward better habits. We're going to go even deeper into how you can rewire your dopamine system and take back control of your life. But before that, who's to remember awareness is the first step. And now you're starting to see what was always hidden. Now let's take this understanding and turn it into something practical. Something you can actually use in your daily life starting today. Because knowing about dopamine is powerful, but using it is what truly changes everything. The first step is awareness of your triggers. Every habit you have is connected to a trigger. Something that tells your brain it's time to get dopamine. It could be boredom, stress, or even just picking up your phone without thinking. Once you notice these triggers, you start breaking the automatic loop. For example, if you always check your phone when you feel bored, your brain has linked boredom with easy dopamine. But if you replace that action with something slightly more productive, like reading a page or taking a short walk, you begin to rewire that connection. At first, it will feel uncomfortable. That's because your brain is used to fast rewards, and now you're giving it something slower. But this discomfort is actually a good sign. It means your brain is adjusting, and new pathways are being formed. The second step is controlling your environment. Your brain reacts strongly to what is around you. If your phone is always in your hand, distractions will win. If junk food is always visible, you'll crave it more. But if you make small changes, like keeping your phone away during work, or placing healthier options in front of you, your brain starts choosing better without extra effort. You're not relying on willpower. You're designing your... The third step is something called dopamine scheduling. This means you stop giving yourself constant rewards and start earning them. Instead of scrolling anytime you want, you set a rule. For example, I will only check social media after completing a task. Now your brain begins to connect effort with reward. And this is how real motivation is built. Because when dopamine follows effort, your brain learns that hard work is worth it. But when dopamine comes before effort, your brain avoids work completely. This is a simple shift, but it changes everything. It turns you from reactive to intentional. Now let's talk about something even deeper. Your brain has two modes when it comes to dopamine. One is high stimulation mode, where everything is fast, exciting, and addictive. The other is low stimulation mode, where things are calm, focused, and meaningful. Most people today are stuck in high stimulation mode all the time. That's why silence feels uncomfortable, and doing nothing feels impossible. But when you spend time in low stimulation, like sitting quietly, journaling, or just thinking, your brain starts to recover. It becomes more sensitive again, and suddenly, simple things start to feel rewarding. A good conversation, a small achievement, even a moment of peace. This is where clarity comes from. This is where real control begins. Now, here's something powerful. Discipline is not about forcing yourself all the time. It's about reducing the need for force. When your dopamine system is balanced, good habits feel natural, not painful. You don't have to fight yourself every day. Your brain starts working with you instead of against you. And this is the difference between short-term motivation and long-term change. One is driven by emotion, the other is driven by system. So if you feel stuck, unmotivated, or distracted, don't blame yourself immediately. Look at your dopamine patterns. Ask yourself, what am I training my brain to enjoy every day? Because whatever the answer is, that is the direction your life is moving. If you train your brain to enjoy growth, you will grow. If you train it to enjoy comfort, you will stay the same. It's that simple and that powerful. Now imagine this. A version of you who doesn't get distracted is a version of you who can focus deeply, enjoy progress, and stay consistent without feeling forced. That version is not far away. It's just a result of how you manage your dopamine. And the best part is, you don't need to change everything overnight. Start small. Delay one distraction. Replace one bad habit. Create one rule. And repeat Italiano. Because every small action sends a signal to your brain. And over time, those signals shape your identity. You are not just building habits. You are building a new version of yourself. So the next time you feel the urge to scroll, to procrastinate, or to escape effort, Pause for a second. Ask yourself, is this controlling me, or am I controlling it? That one question can break the loop. If this video made you see your life differently, drop a comment below and share your biggest takeaway. And send this to someone who feels stuck, because this might be the perspective they need. And if you want more videos that decode how your brain really works, stay connected with BrainDecoded. Because once you understand the system, you can finally take control of it.